Ed Amoroso, you have decades of experience in both the private sector and academia, including serving as distinguished research professor at NYU currently, as well as CEO and founder of Tag Cyber. Additionally, you spent over 30 years at AT&T, where you recently retired as senior vice president and chief security officer. Ed, what is today's cybersecurity challenge and how can we address it?
So the challenge in one word is complexity. That's the issue. So if you can imagine something that is, for the most part, poorly designed, not well understood, has lots and lots of different this and that and connections and front ends and back ends, there's just not a real good clarity around how things operate. Then that gives you a picture of how most critical infrastructure is operated today. It's much too complicated for any individual or even group to understand. I don't care who it is. Do not sufficiently understand their infrastructure to protect themselves in a meaningful way from a determined attacker. And I think that's true for 100% of the critical infrastructure that's in place today. And I mean that. I don't mean 99. I mean 100% of the critical infrastructure that's in place today is probably not sufficiently understood by the people who have responsibility to protect it.
Absent an understanding of your operations, how do you protect them?
So that is the point. How in the dickens are you supposed to secure something when you don't understand it? Now, you would say, well, in different pockets, there are people who understand it. But we all know that in critical infrastructure, the process control engineers didn't take computer science classes. And they don't have an understanding of the differences between safety, physical, tangible threats, and electronic threats that are very different, that do require some training to understand.
Okay. So what can we do about this major deficiency across 100% of critical infrastructure?
Well, the answer to the problem here is seductive, because you can state it simply and it goes to these basic considerations that are so foundational. Understand what you have, take inventory, simplify, learn how things work. Those sound very simple because you can state them in a very clear, very straightforward manner. So it is seductive. But what's challenging here is that doing those things in a complex system is not easy.
Can you elaborate?
Think about it. Go into your garage, and let's say your garage is a total mess. Like my mom and dad have a pretty messy garage. And when you go in there, if somebody said, well, there's seems like there's a mouse in here, and you go, oh, mouse in here. You look around and there's crap everywhere, paint cans and junk and bicycles just piled around. You barely walk in there. The best way to catch that mouse is clean up the garage, clean it up, and then put a few traps. You'll have the mouse in a minute. You put the traps, probably not going to get the mouse. There's too many nooks and crannies, and you get the point. So taking the time to take inventory and clean up, that's the way you do it. Now, is that a moonshot? It seems like the moonshot is the wrong metaphor for that. It's more like clean the garage.
So firstly, clean up, meaning inventory, organize, simplify your current systems.
And that's my basic message. I don't think we need to convince anyone that they should be buying more cybersecurity tools or services. They're going to do that. And that's fine. There's no downside to that other than the cost. They all do work and they reduce risk, and I'm for all of that. But more importantly, I'd rather be bringing those tools into a clean garage than a messy one. You know, instrumenting something that's clean and safe, and I understand how it works. Like if I'm going to put a monitoring system in a garage, wouldn't it be better to have it in a nice clean one than in one that has crap all over the place and you get things going on? It's just a total mess. So that's the metaphor. You know, clean the garage, understand how things work, simplify, and then you can introduce security capabilities.
So this is no small effort. Substantial resources will be needed, correct?
I think you should have a little drum roll for this and maybe take a little gulp before I say this. You can send money. Or discounts. Like I believe that if you got 1,000 CISOs together, don't count the top 5 banks where they have unlimited budget, and don't count telecom, where there's very, very large budgets. Get the top 10, 15 top companies, don't count them. But everybody else, every single one of their chief information security officers, everyone will reference deficiencies in staff, deficiencies in ability to get tools in place, deficiencies in budget, deficiencies in capital. And the reason I say that is because when they were built, when they were sized, when the teams were put together, they weren't intended to fight nation states. They were intended to do IT security, to tend to patching, updates, passwords, authentication, policy, acceptable use, day-to-day IT infrastructure. That's how we size these teams. And then all of a sudden, probably in the last 10 years, we realize, oh my gosh, this is a military battlefront. These small teams are fighting nation states. So it's not like you just overnight change the budget. Many of them are set at a level in a corporation where there's some level of unity, across different groups, where we've rationalized, well, your team should have about this much and yours should have about this much. And we've sized it. And we've completely missed the fact that IT security teams are protecting our nation. I think their budget should be tripled. I think the team should be tripled. I think every organization should have a security or information risk person directly reporting to the CEO. It should be a very, very senior position.
What's needed then is additional budgetary resources for staffing and greater capabilities to address this new battlefront, as you term it, as well as a direct report to the CEO.
So I think something like that, where you bring people and money and you help, you provide support, that's the solution. It's not, frameworks and requirements and guidance. We've got enough of that.
Ed, you recommend bringing in people to address this challenge. What about the tremendous scarcity of cybersecurity talent?
I've argued in a number of different pieces that I've been working on and pushing out, is this concept called the cyber core that has been bandied about. I've been very vocal about it. That in a sense, in my mind, brings expertise to where it's needed. And my concept is very simple, that young people should be, given 4 years of computer science education free of charge. And it could be paid for by government. It could be paid for by academia. It could be sponsored by the Fortune 1000.
Okay. And then what?
After those 4 years, the agreement is that they'll go spend 4 or 5 years in a designated organization that really needs that expertise. Like, think a state government IT team in some obscure state that doesn't typically have a lot of IT expertise.
Only government agencies?
And I mean private companies. We're government agencies for federal. I don't mean everybody goes to DOD. They go to where the battle is, and that's the commercial entities.
And what would they do there?
Their only job could be to learn the systems, to develop an understanding, to go intern in these different places for a couple of years, and then come back and help the team understand and protect and build better systems and build better protections. I believe that would have a fundamental and meaningful impact on the way critical infrastructure is managed.
Ed, you indicated earlier all of these recommendations will require significant resources and thus investment, substantial investment. Granted, the fundamental benefit will be minimizing disruptions to your core business, which may be justification enough, but are there other benefits?
Well, the benefits, the financial implications are good. You're going to have lower costs. There's no question. Once you understand how a thing works, immediately you can retire pieces that are unnecessary.
Any other benefits?
The upside is innovation and use of technology that we have today. A good metaphor is an autonomous vehicle. We know we can do that. But what's the reason we don't?
What is the reason?
Because we can envision a lot of bad things that can still happen. So we don't do that because we're concerned about bad things that can still happen. When you have that property in a system, it holds you back. It's like having sandbags on your ability to actually operate. Take another example, elections. What's the reason we don't use mobile devices, mobile apps, and something in the cloud to handle elections? Well, because we can think of all these bad things that can happen, so we don't do it. We stand in line for days.
So if we can get security well established, then we can throw off these sandbags and free up the opportunity to pursue more of these innovations.
So that's the image people should have, that if you can get some of these problems solved, it enables a lot of really wonderful things that can happen if you in fact believe that technology advances society, which I do. I think it'd be nice if we could spend more time thinking about ethics and thinking about societal good than worrying about vulnerabilities that are exploitable by hackers.
Then what is the overall goal?
So I'm pretty confident that this type of thing should be to build systems that are correct, that are simple, that are elegant, that are understandable, that have great clarity in the way they operate.
And that clarity is the foundation to build effective cybersecurity?
That level of clarity is what you need in oil and gas, in telecom, in transportation, in government, in military, in Department of Defense. You don't have anything even close to that now. And without it, you can't deal with the cybersecurity problem. You can't deal with this correctness problems. You have to make things simpler, more modular, more elegant, more smaller.
So simpler, smaller, modular, more elegant systems.
And that will change the equation. Doing it that way, bringing young people in to help learn, getting more budget and funding to teams that need it, simplifying infrastructure, and then ultimately reducing cost and enabling more rapid innovation. This is the path we need to be on.
Ed, thank you for sharing your insights. My takeaways: infrastructure operations are generally a complex patchwork of legacy systems. No one fully understands them sufficiently to protect them. We need to take concerted action to inventory and understand what is in place, optimally with cybersecurity apprenticing across an organization. Then we need to simplify and modularize wherever possible. To do so, we need greater funding, more staff, and a direct report to the CEO. A cyber core program could bring a whole new generation of needed talent to this challenge, and the payoffs can include fewer disruptions to core operations, lower costs, and greater innovation.